to everyone who's come out this evening for the State of the District. This is something that we started last year. It's something that we will continue to do year after year. The purpose of the State of the District is really to focus on the goals that we started last school year, at the beginning of the year, as well as provide you with information as we look to move forward in the years to come. So before I actually get started, I want to give you the opportunity to Receiver Nichols, who's going to make a few remarks, and then we'll go with some introductions. But again, thank you so much for coming out this evening. Truly appreciate seeing all the lovely faces for tonight.
Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, thank you all for coming out to spend a few hours with us as we go through the 2022-2023 school year State of the District address. I am a spectator like you all, so I'll be seeing this presentation. I did have an opportunity to get an overview, so I'm excited to see what our district leadership is going to be presenting tonight. But I want to make these remarks and comments, if I may, prior to the start. As a product of this district, a man of this community, I look out and I see a lot of you who have been constant figures in this community, whether you're an educator here in Chester Upland School District, a support staff member, a parent, a resident, a taxpayer. You've been a consistent figure in the fight for education and the recovery of the Chester Upland School District. And I know as a resident myself, a product of this district myself, it can get frustrating at times because we have been bamboozled a lot. And we've been made a lot of promises. We've seen people come and go. We've seen it all. Over 30 years, my recollection is that this district has been in some sort of state oversight. This community has been in some sort of state oversight. And we're still here. That's sad. Something has to give. We're trying to give it. I make that statement to say it didn't happen overnight. It's not going to, the situation won't remedy overnight. It really won't. I would like it to, because now we live in a day of right now. But unfortunately, the red tape that we have to go through to get things done, unfortunately, takes a little longer than we all would like, especially us constants that have been here for this long fight. I am proud to say this. Coming from the Department of Education, PDE has said that they've seen the most progress, at least over the last 10 years, that this district's been in receivership in about the last 18 months. And that came from the Department of Education, based off of things that they've seen. I'm proud of that, but again, it doesn't negate the fact that we are still where we are. But progress is being made. So, every time there's a step taken forward, sometimes there's 2 steps taken back. I try to be as transparent as possible. This stuff is public record. Even as late as today, I had a meeting scheduled at 10 a.m. that I thought was going to warrant good news to the Chester Upland School District, but unfortunately, it was bad news about, again, some obligations that the district had not fulfilled with the IRS yet again today, in the tune of $700,000. So I'm only saying this because the reality is our reality. And I'm almost pleading with all of you, let's work together to address the issues at hand, to do what's best for the students of Chester Upland School District, and try to expedite moving that needle forward so that I can do what I told you and promised you I wanted to do, and that's work myself out of a job. I have gray hair now. Didn't have it when I came here 18 months ago. I'm not saying it for a laugh, but we can work together, we can accomplish our goals, and we can do what we need to do to recover Chester Upland School District. This upcoming school year is the accountability school year. Everyone from the top down, not saying that they weren't held accountable in the past, but they most certainly are going to be held accountable moving forward, because it rolls downhill. So from the receiver, I'm not putting myself out of that equation, on down to the last person on the totem pole, we all will be responsible, including us community members. I had that pregnant pause means something sometimes, because as community members, don't throw stuff at the wall to see what sticks, but let's work together to clean that wall so that our children just can have something a little better. The air conditioner is broke in this building for the umpteenth time. PDE and I had a conversation about that because apparently in 2014, they gave the district $9 million to repair HVAC systems district-wide, including in this building. And the company that the new company that's fixing the HVAC system said to me, Mr. Nichols, it doesn't appear that Chester Upland has done the routine maintenance on a system that has a life expectancy of 20 years. So of course, PDE was very angry and upset at the fact that their investment, as they try to offer support to this district, wasn't maintained. Something as simple as quarterly maintenance that just wasn't done. That's a problem. Our children suffer because of the adults at times not doing basic things. Ms. Arnold, low-hanging fruit. I'm at least proud to say now that, our Mr. Irvin now has a maintenance schedule that's followed like the letter of the law. But it was a little too late for this air conditioning chiller for you to be cool tonight. But it will be repaired before the schools open up in the fall. So that's what matters to me right now. We were able to redeploy students to other places so that they could be cool for their summer programming. But again, another example of something so small that we can check off the box and handle. I didn't know what I was going to say when I got up here. I apologize. You want to see the state of the district addressed, but I'm going to use an opportunity, and as will Dr. Parkinson, for your Thursday thoughts. I think you have Thursday thoughts or something like that. I'm going to talk about it on Tuesdays or something. We're going to use our social media outlets to just talk about some things because we all have to work together to address our district's issues at hand, because I believe that we most certainly can recover. We must recover academically, financially, emotionally, spiritually, to do what's best for this community and our students. So again, I thank you for coming out this evening. Please take great notes, because I will be. And let's do what we need to do for our students. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Receiver Nichols, for the opening remarks. I'm intro. I'm the intro guy. So I want to take this opportunity to introduce or welcome our school board of directors. I'm going to start with our board president, Ms. Joan Neal, our vice president of school board, Mr. Fred Green, board director Beverly Harris, board director Betty McLaren, board member Tyra Quayle, board member Bill Riley, and I do believe I saw Mr. Washington come in. There we go. Board member Ken Washington. Didn't leave anyone out, right? All right. So just a quick introduction of the cabinet. We have Assistant Superintendent Dr. Latrice Mumine. Our Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Sutton, soon to be Assistant Superintendent in a couple days. Mr. Urban Maldonado, Facilities and Operations. And I want to take this opportunity to introduce our new transportation coordinator, amazing individual. He's coming to us from the Christiana School District, 17 years of experience, and he's already made some magic happen in his school district. Mr. Garcia Garnett is with us this evening as well. All right. Ms. Tamara Yarbray, who actually does a lot for the district. She's here in a capacity. She's done a lot of work with ESSER. She's not giving a presentation on ESSER tonight. I'm going to speak to that this evening, but just want to welcome everybody. So I think that takes care of everything. So just a quick overview of what we're going to do. Tonight, again, as I said, I'm going to provide you with some information about the Chester Upland School District, state of the district, some of the progress that we've made this school year, but also some gains that, some areas that we can work on. So we always talk about glows and grows. You know, there are a lot of glows in this district, but there are still some areas where we need to grow. So I'm going to speak to all those areas at a high level. And again, I just want to say thank you sincerely for being out tonight. I'm going to just take a minute to pick up where Receiver Nichols left off and just make it clear that, you know, we are definitely here to move the needle in this district. I know there are times that some of you don't see that needle being moved and you feel like progress has not been made. But to Receiver Nichols' point, 15, 20, some have said 30 years, but at least 15 years that I'm aware of, that the district has been in some challenging times. I think one of the things that happens is, and I have an issue with this myself, I always focus on the things that are not going well, and sometimes we forget about the great things that are happening. So we are changing lives here. We are moving the needle for the students in the school district, and you'll hear about some of that tonight. But is our work close to being finished? Nowhere near. So there's a lot of work that still needs to be done, and we're going to continue to work tirelessly to make that happen. So everyone should be aware of the mission and vision of the Chester Upland School District. I always like to focus on these 4 areas, which are academics, athletics, arts, and activities. We've done a great job with this. You'll hear about this throughout the presentation. One of our greatest focus has been on bringing the arts back to the Chester Upland School District. You know, we're focusing on everything. We're focusing on academics, and you'll hear about that. But I'm extremely proud of what we're doing with providing our students with different opportunities, exposing them to different things that Chester was known for years ago. You know, prior to coming to the Chester Upland School District, and I share this story, I hear stories about the Chester band being 4 blocks deep and all the great things happening. You know, we're struggling to get 10 to 15 students in our band right now. So with what we've done with the ESSER funds, and you'll hear more about that, the acquiring of more instruments and music and different things, we're gonna have that band back to where it was. So the mission is very clear. The vision statement is stated, and I'm sure you're all familiar with that. So where are we right now? Where are we as the Chester Upland School District? So when I arrived in Chester, one of the things I started to focus on were 5 areas that will continue to be my focus until I feel like we've accomplished everything that we need to do in these areas. It's going to take some time. So these areas, and this is what my presentation, the State of the District, will be made of this evening: safe schools, fiscal responsibility, academics, establishing true partnerships, and family and community engagement. These were the 5 areas that as I went through my 90-day plan when I entered the district, the 90-day entry plan, had opportunities to meet with many of the stakeholders, many of you who are sitting in this audience this evening. As I had the opportunity to speak to you all, these were the areas that percolated. These were the areas that seemed to garner the most attention. So these areas will continue to be focused on, along with others. So, and again, as I get through the presentation, you'll hear about those as well. So if we talk about safe schools, these are some of the things that we've done where we've had some great accomplishments or improvements or progress. We've established our crisis improvement plan, our crisis communication plan, which was something that was established, that was in the district, but not really followed, not updated. So one of the things that we did was we updated our crisis communication plan, and really what this plan consists of. If there's an event of an emergency, an active shooter in the building, something happens, a student passes away in the building, something that happens that's considered a crisis, there has to be a plan. Because what usually happens is the media descends on the building, parents are coming to pick up children, and chaos just breaks out. So if you don't have a plan to respond to all that's going to take place, to the media arriving, to someone receiving, the parents giving them direction, it's going to be chaotic. So I always say a plan is only appreciated when it's needed. But I can tell you that we're definitely making sure that all the school personnel are aware of the plan. We've also developed our emergency response plan, which simply is an event of emergency. How is everyone to be deployed? What are we going to do to make sure everyone knows how to respond appropriately? So that's something that was extremely important, making sure that everyone had a copy of that. So all the schools have been trained on that. We had the opportunity to work with our local law enforcement to develop our plans. So all the plans that have been developed has been vetted. They have been vetted by our local law enforcement. We've had meetings with them, which are things that hadn't really taken place at some time. So that's something that's been improved upon. Our school resource officer, our lead school security personnel, has been trained and certified in ALICE. Alice is for active shooters. Again, it's something that you don't need until something happens. But we always want to make sure that all of our personnel are trained, as well as our students. In the event that there's an active shooter, our individual, the person who's overseeing that, has the ability now to go and train all of our personnel in the district for active shooter training. So that's something that's extremely important. And we've organized a safety committee in every building, which is extremely important. Again, this is something that the Human Resource Department worked closely with our school safety personnel to develop, but again, something that is extremely important and has been executed, our school safety committee. All right, so there are always opportunities. Although we've made some great progress in the area of safety, some of the opportunities are to improve the school climate. I'm a strong believer that school climate is improved through relationships. The culture and the climate, as we know, there's some struggles in some of our buildings, some challenges. So our goal is to make sure that through relationships, the climate and the culture will definitely improve. I shared a story with some of my colleagues earlier that there was a time there was a student who had at the previous place where I worked, a student had a gun in the building, had a gun in his book bag, brought the gun in the building. There were no metal detectors. The student had actually gotten to his classroom with this gun, but there was a student who was aware of this. Another student came to me and made me aware of the situation where I was able to walk to this young man's classroom and grab his book bag, walk him, pull him aside, and we intervened with the school resource officer. But what I say to everyone, had I not had the relationship with the students, who knows what would have happened that day. So as I talk about changing the culture, the climate, it's very important to build relationships with our students. Another thing we've been able to do is track and reduce incidents to promote an environment that's conducive to learning. That's something that we're focusing on. We want to make sure that we create an environment that students feel safe, they feel comfortable, they feel protected, and that's an environment that's going to be conducive to learning. I will tell you that our buildings in the district are doing extremely well. I'm very proud and pleased with what the principals are doing to make gains in those areas, but it's an area that we want to continue to grow in the years to come during the 23-24 school year. And that's school safe zones throughout the district. So we are actually partnering with the city, who's actually facilitated a traffic study. In most districts, many districts, you see the flashing lights, school zones, drug-free zones, all those things. Some of our buildings, we don't have those signs or those flashing lights. So with the support of the city, Receiver Nichols, we're going to make sure that all of our schools are deemed as school safe zones so to ensure that our students are able to be transported to and from school safely. All right? And another area we're looking to grow is we're looking to bring back our police substation. We're looking to create a substation here with police department, but also looking to bring back our top school safety officer who will actually work to deploy all of our school guards, work with our climate managers. And this is extremely important for our students to be able to build relationships with these individuals. I can assure you that when students feel safe in the building, active learning will take place, and that's no secret. I think we're all aware of that. That's something that we desire to have happen. So again, safe schools is an extremely important piece, and I do feel like progress is being made in that area as well. All right, it's a big one. And you'll hear more about this riddle later throughout the presentation, the fiscal responsibility. Ms. Mosley, our business manager, is not here this evening, I don't believe. But we had the opportunity to share our gratitude with her every day this morning during our meeting. But this is an area where we've gained. We're in receivership. We're in receivership because of our financial issues. So one of the things that we have to do as a school district is become more fiscally responsible. So one of the things that I really appreciate about Ms. Mosley, she treats the money in this district as if it's her own. Very frugal, make sure that we're not just going out and spending money on trivial items. And that's something that's been extremely important. And as you'll hear later in the presentation, the deficit that we entered this school district, when Receiver Nichols and the team, when we walked into the district, there was a significant deficit, which I'll get into later. But one of the things we've been able to reduce that deficit by putting controls in place. Sounds pretty simple, but it takes everyone being on board, everyone working together to make those things happen. Also developing relationships with the vendors. One of the things that happened upon entering the district, there were a lot of outstanding debts to various vendors. Various vendors were not willing to do business with the Chester Upland School District. We were able to reconnect, redevelop, massage, work on all those relationships to where now many of those vendors are once again trusting our word, giving us a net 30, net 90, giving us, we're able to pay like other school districts. No one walks in and says, hey, well, I'm dropping off these textbooks, so I need a check right now. You're able to complete a purchase order. You're able to say, well, send the bill in 30 days, 90 days, and those are opportunities, those are privileges that have been extended to the Chester Upland School District, once again, through the establishing of great relationships and partnerships with these various vendors and organizations. We've been able to prioritize expenditures and make sure there's a constant cash flow. I can tell you years ago, when I was not in the district, reading in the newspaper that the school district wasn't able to pay teachers, that there was a period where teachers had to be put on hold, and it's because cash flow, it's because of how you manage money at times, which again sounds simple, but one of the things that the business department has been able to do is to make sure that there's a constant cash flow. We prioritize our vendors, again, by establishing relationships with these individuals. There are times that Ms. Mosley and I will have a conversation and say that this bill right now can't be paid this month. We're able to pick up the phone and say, listen, we're having some cash flow issues. Can we pay you next month? And because of the relationships, things like that have worked out for us and has been extremely well. So again, the fiscal responsibility that the business department has created by making great decisions, by managing the money extremely well, has paid off. And as I get to the end of the presentation and share some of these numbers with you, I think you all will be extremely impressed with what this district has been able to do with such little resources. As we talk about areas that we want to continue to work on, we want to operate within our assigned budget. And really what that means is we want to live within our means. There have been times as a district, and these are things that we've discovered from past due bills that we've discovered. The district would make purchases on items that we just could not afford. Now, it's just like growing up in our household. There may be many things. Thank you, brother. There may be many things that we want, just growing up in your house, but you can only really purchase what you need, what's actually needed in the district. So we've done a great job at that. So living within our means, I say, as a district. One of the things that we want to focus on is communicating transparently, making sure that as we talk about purchases, as we talk about how the money is being spent, those are things that we want to continue to improve upon. Has that happened this year? It has. Do our stakeholders desire to know more and to be informed about more of the spending? Absolutely. So in areas where those things can be identified and be done transparently, I can assure you that those things will happen. We want to make sure that we maximize our funding for our students. One of the things that I always say, that our children in this community deserve every single thing that every child has throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and other schools. We need to make sure that our students are afforded the opportunity to travel, the opportunity to have instruments to play, the opportunity to have great textbooks, a good curriculum, and we should never feel as though that, because we don't have money or because of cost, that our children are going to suffer. We've been able to do that this year. Now, a lot of this has been supported through some of these ESSER dollars that we'll speak to, but a lot of this has been done because of good management of money, just good fiscal responsibility. So those are things that we want to be able to continue, and that's done through proactive planning and making sure that things are in place. This year, the business department transitioned to e-finance. We were with CSIU for years, an antiquated system that was outdated probably like 10 years ago. But we've actually made that transition this year, which was a heavy, heavy lift for the business department. So as you're actively working through the school year, trying to keep up with all the finances, managing those things, you're trying to transition from one system to another, which is insanely difficult. But the business department, with the support of the MCIU and others, were able to make that transition smoothly. So this coming school year, our goal is to make sure we're utilizing the tools of e-finance to the best of their ability, making sure we're getting every bit of the use out of that tool that we can this year. Again, this year was the transition year to just make sure it was up and running. Now that it's completely in place, we will definitely make sure that we're using all the tools of e-finance. So something that we definitely want to make sure that we do as we look to move forward with 2023. All right, academics. Area that I want to say I'm extremely proud of. Proud of everything that we're doing here in the district. I really am. But I would say with the progress that's been made, Dr. Sutton and his team, Chief Academic Officer, one of the things that the principals were charged with this year was to utilize data to make decisions. Sounds pretty easy, but I can tell you it's not an easy thing to expect in a year's time, which I want to say the principals did an extremely great job of doing, the building leadership and taking the data that was developed through benchmark, through various assessments that were provided, to utilize that data to make instructional decisions for our students. Extremely important if we're trying to move the needle academically. The principals actually provided support to the teachers. Obviously, support came from Dr. Sutton and Dr. Parker, his team, to provide the principals with the tool to do that, to make these adjustments. And of course, the principals provided the leadership and guidance to the teachers. But with using data to make decisions, we're able to see if our students are growing. And I promise you this, I'm really looking forward to receiving the PSSA scores, Keystone scores in the coming years, because as you apply data to make these decisions, to identify the areas where our students are struggling in mathematics, in reading, science, we're able to provide real-time support. And this is what this data allows our teachers to do for our students. So as you see the academic needle moving, you can attribute a lot of that to obviously the great teachers that we have in the district, but also the utilization of data to drive the decisions. So very proud of that. And that was one of the things that I said I wanted to focus on at the start of this school year. What happens to our students if they're taking taking PSSAs, Keystones, and they're constantly being told that you're below basic, you're basic. Again, that plays into the psyche of young children. To anybody, if you're told that you're not performing or you're not doing well enough. What we wanted to show to our students is that every child in this district can grow. And I would say, for the most part, everything that the data has shown to us, and utilizing it, we've seen a great deal of growth from our students. Now, when the students take the PSSAs, will some of those students still be below basic or basic? They will. There's a strong possibility that will happen. But what you will see is that students have grown, and that is something that is tracked through PBOS, through the state website for Keystones and PSSAs. And I'm extremely excited to see the growth that our students will have this coming year. I also want to speak to expanding our CT programs and curriculum throughout the district. One of the things I asked to do when I arrived 2 years ago, I wanted to increase our CT offerings. We know that every student does not desire to go straight to a 4-year college program or a 2-year program. And being a part of CT programs, you can still do that. And we have many students who opt to go to 4-year programs. But one of the beautiful things about CT programs, it provides job-ready skills for our students, where we're able to have these students transition from the K-12 school system out into the workforce and have excellent careers, excellent opportunities. The CTs are extremely important, extremely vital to this community. And again, as we talk about the years in the past, the robust CT programs that this community once had, our goal is not only to bring those opportunities back, but to extend them and to expand upon what we're doing. So I'm excited to report that Dr. Thompson, our career and technical educator director, has done an amazing job at doing this. We're actually adding 4 additional CT programs this coming year. So we're excited. The things that we said we wanted to happen are truly happening in the community. So kudos to Dr. Thompson and her team, and obviously the CT teachers. I want to thank them for all that they do. One of the things we were able to do this year was reopen our Clipper Cafe. So every Friday, teachers were able to purchase lunch through the meals that our students prepared in the Clipper Cafe. So the goal this coming year is to make sure that that is open for the community as we continue to make progress in that area. We were able to expand partnerships with, partnerships and funding support from various community members, various community organizations. Again, something extremely important to support our students. What we were able to do is provide them with jobs, provide them with internships. I just received an email, I believe it was 2 days ago. One of our students has been provided a paid internship with WHYY, a local television station. This was created through a love that this young lady developed from being given an opportunity and exposure through our partner with the Clipper TV. This was one of the students who actually did the news in the morning, developed a love and passion for something she had never experienced or was not exposed to, provided the opportunity, and the student has been given a paid internship to go and do the news, to be a part of a television studio. I mean, if that's not progress, and if that's not something special that's happened, I don't know what is. So that is extremely incredible. So those are things that we want to continue to work on. We want to be able to expose our students to travel. One of the things that we're looking to do this year is our marketing students, hospitality class. We want to allow our students to go abroad and to experience places outside of the walls of Chester. So one of the things that we're looking to do is raise money, provide support, and give these students, again, additional opportunities of learning. Some of the best learning experiences are through travel. And I think many of us who have the opportunity to travel, we recognize and we realize that. We must give those same opportunities to our students, and we're going to do that. Again, I spoke to you earlier about the great pride and joy that I feel about the arts returning. I'm an arts lover. I love musicals. I love music. I love just watching students play and perform. So one of the things that we're looking to do, and we're going to continue to expand upon that. This past year we had 2 concerts. We had a fall concert. We had a spring concert, holiday concert. We actually had some students perform some plays. So again, I want to thank all of those who are instrumental in making sure that we bring the arts back to the Chester Upland School District. That is something that has to happen for the success of our students. I want to speak to something that I'm extremely proud of. I actually had the opportunity with some of our community members, our receiver, Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Mumeen. We had our students build boats at Toby Farms. I can tell you one of the most amazing things that I witnessed. The students started this boat building project at the beginning of the school year. And I can tell you, when I walked in the classroom where these boats were assembled, all you saw was plywood against the wall, 2x4s against the wall, and just materials just sitting there. But it was really special to go back each week, each month, and just see the little progress that the students were making, all the way to the very end, where they actually put the boat into the Bartram, what's that called? Bartram Arboretum? It was a school. Thank you. Let's just go with the Schuylkill River. I'm going to leave the Bartram Arboretum or wherever that was. The Schuylkill River is where those boats were placed. And I can tell you that it was just such a great feeling, to get in the boats that our students built and have them float down the Schuylkill River. The look on the students' face, the faces of these students was just pride and joy that they were able to accomplish something, like I said, from 2x4s, plywood leaning against the wall, to a structure that we could all get in and row our ways down the Schuylkill River. So again, something that our students were exposed to, opportunities. Again, our children are capable of doing amazing and great things. It's just exposure. It's just giving them the opportunity. So again, I want to thank all of those who were part of this experience for our students and looking to continue this opportunity for our children in the years to come. So academically, there are many more areas that we've really grown in. Some other examples I just want to share briefly. Some of the partnerships, the Widener Teachers Academy, which I again, want to give a thank you to Dr. Sutton for brokering this opportunity for our students. We all know that teaching right now is a field where we're losing a lot of people. For whatever reason, there are not a lot of people signing up to be teachers. So creating the opportunity with Widener University to create our own pipeline of teachers, having our students from the Chester Upland School District be a part of the Teachers Academy. The goal is they complete the program here, then they'll transition to Widener or to another four-year university where they will study the art of teaching, and then return to their home community and become educators for our generations to come. This is a great opportunity that has been given to us by Widener University in this partnership. We have students who are working with the GMC Automotive Group, which is amazing. I spoke to you about WHYY, our student who received the paid internship. This year we started the Clipper Urban News, and I don't know, hopefully many of you have watched that. Every week we do a newscast where our students speak to all the events and activities that are taking place. Again, the exposure of opportunities like that is developing a thirst, a hunger for our students to learn and to do different things. So again, proud of a lot of the academic things that are taking place in our community for our students. So again, obviously there are areas where we want to grow, areas where we can improve. So we've utilized data this year to make decisions. Obviously, we need to expand upon that. It's an area where I want to make sure everybody is comfortable and continues to grow, so that's an area. One of the goals that Dr. Thompson had set was to increase our CTE, expanding our partnerships by 10%. This year, we've added 4 new CTE programs. So what this will require Dr. Thompson is to go out and touch base with local community organizations, external organizations, and help and request that they develop a partnership to support our students in these areas of the CTE programs. Obviously, our automotive program, our culinary arts, all the other CTE programs. We want our students to go out and have real life experiences in working in the field in these areas. So that's something that we're working on. The comprehensive school plans, we have many plans that we're working on right now. They've been developed, but we want to make sure that we're actually implementing these plans with fidelity. So as I would say that all the plans are implemented and we're working with it, but obviously to continue to just monitor these plans, to just make sure everything that are in these plans are followed with fidelity, as I said. We want to continue our 21st century summer after school program. We know that many of our parents work late in the evenings. We need a place for our students to be, a safe place for them to be. So we want to continue to utilize the partnerships and not only run these programs, but expand again on the opportunities that are provided to the students in these after-school offerings. Career pathways, something that we know is extremely important for our students to expand on different opportunities for our students as we focus on what's required by PDE. Part of the graduation requirements now are students have identified a pathway of choice. That is something that we are working on as a school district as well. Something that's extremely important and that we're going to make happen is we want to introduce the CTE programs in the middle schools. In order to attract more students in our district, it is my belief that if we start the CTE programs at an early age, there's some places that start CTE programs exposure as early as elementary school. But I strongly believe that if we can start to implement these programs, introduce CTE programs to our students in the middle school at the middle school level, it's going to garner greater interest from our students. And I do believe that we'll see the enrollment increase, the students participating in these CTE programs increase, and the addition of adding additional CTE programs to the district, something that's extremely important. One of the things that I've shared with Dr. Sutton that I would like to do, again, it's all about providing opportunities and exposure to the students. What I'd love to see is our seniors at the end of their senior year, 4th marking period, the last 4 to 6 weeks of school, is to have the opportunity to go out and to be a part of an internship, a co-op, and actually work. I think that's extremely important. And this will only be done for those students who have are good academic standing, from a disciplinary perspective, from attendance perspective. But I can tell you something like that will work wonders for our students by providing them the opportunity their last few weeks of the school year to actually be under the tutelage of someone who is working in an area or in a field that they have interest in. The best way to find out if you want to be a veterinarian or an attorney or a mechanic is to go out and spend several weeks working with these individuals side by side and to experience it. That is something that I would love to see us bring to our students and something that Dr. Sutton and I are working on to make happen. Again, exposures and opportunity is what we're looking for our students. So the next area of my 5 is partnerships. So we have done, I would say, a great job of continuing to establish partnerships. That was one of the things when I arrived 2 years ago, was to get out, part of my 90-day plan, meet individuals in the community, to develop relationships, partnerships. We all know the power of strong relationships and good partners, external stakeholders and our community stakeholders, something that I would say that we've done and we continue to do a great job with. We've spoken about our partnership with Widener, Delcora, GMC. We actually established a partnership with the Man Music Center this year, which is, all of our partnerships are amazing. But I would say the partnership with the Man Music Center this year, they actually came in and did a ton of work with our students and for our students. They had an HBCU expo where we had a busload of students who went down and were exposed to just being a part of the HBCU scene. Obviously, we were able to send students on college tours thanks to some of our community members who were actually in attendance this evening. These are the things that we're talking about, creating partnerships that's going to help to change the trajectory for the students in this community. That is truly our goal, and that's what's happening, one student at a time, one day at a time, and this is all a tribute to all of you who are out here this evening and all of our partners who are working very closely with us. So we want to continue to do that. I spoke to you about relationships with community stakeholders, obviously something, something that's extremely important. I've spoken to that quite a bit tonight. I actually had the opportunity to be on the floor when our governor provided his proposal for the budget. And that was for the entire state budget. I'm interested in all of the budget, but I was extremely interested in the school budget. So I've been working very closely along with Receiver Nichols, Dr. Mameen. We've been working closely with our state representative and our state senator in recognizing the importance of making sure that our school district receives the appropriate funding that's needed to help move our students forward. So again, that's done by building relationships, partnerships with these individuals. I would say almost weekly, I'm reaching out to Representative Kazim, speaking to her about the needs, because you know what they say, that squeaky wheel is always going to get the attention. So it is our job to constantly send emails, phone calls, and just say these are the things that our students need. And I'm confident that they are hearing us loud and clear. And I'm looking forward to the budget being passed in hopefully a few weeks to provide our students the funds and the money that they need to do great things and to be provided and exposed to great things. I would consider this a partnership with the entire community. This year, I started what we called Walk-In Wednesdays, which were days where anyone from the community could walk in and be a part of and just engage in a conversation with me on any topic. There was nothing that was off limits. Anything that you felt as a community member that you wanted to talk about, we provided you that opportunity on Walk-In Wednesdays. And I really appreciated those who took advantage of that and made themselves available to share with me some of the concerns, but not only concerns, some of the great things that were happening in the district as well. Receiver Nichols also mentioned our Thursday Thoughts. Again, another opportunity to share with the community all of the great things that are taking place in the district, as well as the needs that we have. So again, our goal is to continue to be communicative, as well as establish and cultivate great partnerships. Some opportunities. I do believe that we can continue to grow these areas of partnerships in the community. So that is something that I will continue to go out and do and work extremely hard, to establish partnerships with other stakeholders and other organizations. One of the things that we want to do is leverage the resources that we have in this room, in this community, to provide professional development to our staff, to our teachers. There are so many resident experts in our community, as well as in our buildings. We need to tap into those resources, utilize those resources, and build that network where we can provide great professional development and opportunities to all of our teachers, staff, as well as our students who are in this district. All right? To continue to engage our parent, family community, our alumni, school board. These are opportunities that we're looking to continue to establish. I know we're working closely with Coach Bell. These are things that we know are extremely important as we talk about the alumni. The alumni in Chester is extremely strong. When our students are in need of supplies, if they're in need of scholarship money or different things, alumni has always come through for our students. We want to continue to build partnerships with the alumni, as I stated, all of our state, local officials to make these things happen for our students. All right, family and community engagement. I think that's my fourth out of my five. I believe that maybe 5. But what we want to continue to do, and what we've done is we made progress with our families and students. Many of you in this audience, many of our stakeholders, families, community members participated in the Mass Insight study that took place. So the Mass Insight was an organization that came in, and I'll provide you with some additional information on that. But it's an organization that came in to survey the community, to survey the needs, what the community believed were the needs of the school district. And I can tell you that report yielded some extremely good information. I'll give you a little synopsis of that tonight. This report will be posted on the website this evening or tomorrow morning. We just received the full report from Mass Insight, so we will share that with you. We're going to obviously hold some town hall meetings to discuss that as well. But again, just the feedback. We heard from the stakeholders what it is that we need as a school district. So you've been heard loud and clear, and part of the plan that we are developing through Mass Insight is from your feedback. With the support of our Chief of Staff, Ms. Average, we developed a strategic plan for our community stakeholders through our community engagement plan. So there's a strategic plan that was created based upon the information that was shared by many of you in the audience, which again helped to the creation of our return, the resurrection, I will say, of Parent University. That was brought back to this community, did some great work this year, focused on financial literacy, leadership courses. It was a program that was actually brought back to help many of our parents and many of our community members. So again, that was part of the strategic plan that was created by many of you with the support of Ms. Averett, our Chief of Staff. And again, we promoted and expanded our community engagement. So coming up for this school year, 23-24 school year, obviously we want to continue to promote family and community engagement, an area that we feel as though we need to continue to grow. We actually hosted this past year 2 community summits. We had our fall summit, and we had another one in the spring. Those are areas that we will continue to grow, continue to offer opportunities. We actually partnered with Representative Kazim this year with a health and wellness fair, which brought out several members from the community. Again, looking to establish and collaborate with many of our community organizations. And I spoke to you about Parent University, all of the program that they developed for many of our parents, as well as our students this year, something that I feel is extremely vital, extremely important to this community. And I would encourage those who did not participate in Parent University, once it returns at the start of the school year, I would encourage all of you to be a part of that, especially if you have children in the district, something that you can definitely gain from. But there were many who participated who don't have children in the school district. And again, it offers a lot of information to those who do participate, as I spoke to you about. One example was physical planning. All right. So where are we going? So what I want to first speak to you about is Mass Insight. And again, this is going to be on the website. This is the actual plan that Mass Insight provided for the school district to share with all the stakeholders. So take some time to read through it. What I want to do is highlight the areas that were identified, the priorities, and these priorities were identified based upon the information that all of you shared. So the first priority that the community, all the stakeholders, everyone who was surveyed identified was the need to develop a vision, strategy, and culture to provide an understanding of the vision, strategy, and the culture of the district. That was the first priority that was identified. The second was focus on instruction, student-centered supports. That was the second. The third was talent and professional acquisition, learning, and development. So again, that focus was on making sure that we were able to attract strong teachers, great talent in the district, and make sure that there was strong professional development taking place throughout the district, and we provided strong learning opportunities to our students. That was the third area. The fourth area was the focus on finances, facilities, and operations. So that was the fourth area. So when Mass Insight, PDE, Pennsylvania Department of Education, and PFM met with the district leadership, it was then our responsibility to take those 4 priorities that you all develop as community stakeholders and create strategies on how we were going to address these areas. And again, what I will do is I'll refer you to the actual full report. Please read it at your leisure. But as Receiver Nichols talked about accountability, all of us will be held accountable for this report. And working with PFM and working with Mass Insight and the Department of Education, we've already created a timeline of things that must happen that will be on the website. So you all will have the opportunity to view this timeline that's been established. So if there's something that's on that timeline and you have not seen it take place or have not observed us actually putting that into action, that's a part of the accountability. That is a part of you, speaking to the receiver, speaking to me, saying, Dr. Parkinson, on June 15th, this was supposed to be completed. I see that's not done. We're talking about transparency, and that's what you will find as we work on these priorities through Mass Insight. So again, I want you to, at your leisure, let me get back to it. Let's see. Get to the report. All right, so that's just a little overview of the Mass Insight report. All right, so I need you all to pay close attention to this piece because this is really talking about some potential changes or some areas that we're going to need to address in the coming months and the coming years. So one of the things that we actually facilitated was a desk audit to improve controls to help right-size the district. And when I talk about the district, I talk about the staffing, I talk about the facilities. One of the things that we're facing in this building that we're sitting in right now, last count, there were 756, let's say 760 students who were enrolled in Chester High School. Now, the numbers vary. I get different numbers. I hear that the high school was built for 2,500, 3,000 students, but it was built for a lot of students. Right now, currently, we have 760 students in this building. And I'm going to speak to our aggressive recruiting plan, our aggressive enrollment plan to get our students back in the district. We're definitely going to make that happen. But as we are dealing with these challenges, there will be recommendations that I make to the receiver on things that I feel as though we need to do to right-size the district, to make sure that we are being fiscally responsible. Some of these recommendations will come out of town hall meetings that I have with the stakeholders to get feedback. Some of these decisions are just going to simply have to be made because if we don't make these decisions, we will be a sinking ship. I will say to you this, that this year we were afraid that we were going to have to make some really intense decisions. But again, through the support of the Human Resource Department and Ms. Mosley, they were able to find some ways for us to stay afloat at the current status, which that means keeping everything as is for this coming school year, the 23-24 school year. But I can tell you that we will not continue to be able to continue to operate this way if changes are not made, if adjustments are not made. And obviously, before any changes or adjustments are made, all stakeholders will be a part of the conversations. But at the end of the day, a recommendation will have to be made to the receiver, and we'll have to make some decisions about what we're going to do moving forward. So for this year, what we were able to do, the Chester High School has been operating the building, let's say, with staff. We've been operating the building as if we still have 1,500, 2,000 students in this building with personnel. So as HR identified that with our Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Mumin's team, as we were able to identify the student to teacher ratio, we were able to reduce the staff in here without anyone losing their job. So let me speak to that first. It's extremely important. There were no layoffs that had to take place, but through vacancies, we were able to make some adjustments for this year. Now, we talk about trim and fat. Like, we're extremely lean right now in this district. So there are really no other, to do this again next year, I can say, in speaking with Dr. Pless, that we're not going to have that opportunity to resize or to right-size the district through staffing adjustments without any drastic changes. So again, that is something that we're going to speak to. We are operating this building here that we are in the auditorium for 760 students, where all day, the building is running and operating as if there are 2,000, 2,500. We're not able to turn off this part of the building or this part of the building. There's no way. We actually did some research and invested to see if that was something that could actually happen. Could we partition off a part of the building and keep moving? It just was not feasible and something that just would not work. So again, as we think about what has to be done to right-size the district, I need you all to think about, what the district is facing. I want to iterate. I want to emphasize that this is going to be done with minimum disruption to our students. Again, as Receiver Nichols opened up with, we are not going to hurt our children. We're going to find ways to get around whatever we need to do without causing any harm to the children, which to make sure that they're still able to have everything that they deserve, everything that they need to function and be productive like every other child throughout the Commonwealth and the school, various school districts. So we are going to make sure that any disruption that comes to our students is minimized. So again, we will speak more to that in greater detail. One of the things that we're focusing on is aligning our district plans. There are several district plans. We have a recovery plan, a comprehensive plan, school improvement plans. There are several plans that are out there. One of the things that we're focusing on, and with the support of the Pennsylvania Department of Education, is we're going to combine some of these reports. Some of these reports are redundant. Some of these reports, there's a lot of overlap. So the PD has recognized that as well. So many of these reports will be combined and we'll simplify this. But an extremely important report is our recovery plan. So through the support and the help of Mass Insight, that is something that this team is working on, is amending our recovery plan. That's something that has to happen. The recovery plan, please think of that as like a blueprint. Think of that as your instructions, your manual, that's your guide. It's our North Star. That's what the recovery plan is. So as we look to amend the recovery plan, we're going to make sure that there are items in there that pertain to what we are doing in this district. The current recovery plan has language in there that is not, it really doesn't apply to what we're doing in the district. And again, one of the things that we've seen in this community, in our district, is that leadership is constantly changing. There's a great deal of turnover year after year after year. So you can imagine a recovery plan that was created, 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I don't know how many receivers there's been, superintendents there have been in between then, but everybody comes in with a vision. Everybody comes in with a great idea. So the issue is, if you can get some consistency for just a few years, we can deliver and capitalize on some of these great ideas. Because I'll tell you, in reading some of the recovery plan, some of the things that previous superintendents, principals, receivers had talked about, I think there were some things that could have worked. But again, as you have so many people coming in and out, the plan changes. So with us putting this new recovery plan together, we're looking for the opportunity over the next 3 to 5 years to firm up what needs to happen for this community, build some consistency, and we go from there. So that is what we're working on currently as a leadership team, aligning all these plans and really focusing on our amended recovery plan. We're also working on a 10-year capital project plan. We have an organization, KCBA, who is supporting us with this. So as I spoke to you about right-sizing the district, as I spoke to you about that, so this will not be a decision that Dr. Parkinson makes, Dr. Sutton makes, Dr. Mameen, or anyone else makes in isolation. We will use all of the data, all the research that we receive from KCBA, from PFM, from Mass Insight. We'll take all of this data from all of these individuals, use that data to make the decisions. That is what's going to drive decision. Do we need another building? Do we combine buildings? Do we, whatever we decide to do, let me just say this, will be done based upon the recommendations of these organizations who are helping us to make these decisions, including each and every one of you who are sitting in the audience this evening. We will look for your feedback. But again, something has to be done. One of the things that I want to say that I'm extremely proud of, and I spoke to it earlier, creating a realistic and conservative financial plan for the 24-25 school year and beyond. As I said earlier, we need to make sure we are living within our means. As we looked at past bills, and I want to speak to this now, the deficit reduction and what this team has been able to do. When Receiver Nichols and I entered the district, we were told that there was I believe a $5 million surplus. That was, how many? 2.5. I had the 5 inverted. $2.5 million surplus. But we were told there was a surplus, that we were in the black. So what was discovered, now on paper it may have looked like that, but when you look at past bills, when you look at bills that were not paid to vendors where you owed money to, that goes against the budget. So when we walked in, $15 million deficit, approximately a $15 million deficit. So you're walking into an environment trying to make things happen with no money. You're in the red as when the first day you step in. But what I want to say, and just give kudos to the team, the business department, what we've been able to do in 18 months is we've reduced that $15 million to 65% has been cut. That's several $1 million. So not only are we paying bills, we're able to reduce the deficit. So again, extremely important. Those are things that must continue to happen to move the district forward. Speaking about our district-wide enrollment initiative, one of the goals that we have is to make sure we bring our children back to the district. There are still children in this community. For various reasons, the students are leaving the district. And as Dr. Mumeen and the child accounting team continues to research, what we found, it's not germane to just one thing. There are several reasons that has caused that to happen. But what we're doing as a team is we're building our brand. We're creating an environment that our students, our families, the community can continue to be proud of. We talk about Sea Pride quite often. That was one of the first things that I heard about when I entered the district. And what we need now more than ever is that Sea Pride to come out. We need to bring our children back home. We need our children in this district being educated because we know that we can do it better than everyone else, and we want to make that happen. So we will make that happen. So we have a very aggressive enrollment initiative that's taking place, and we're going to continue to work on that. So I want to get into some of the capital improvement projects, and I want to start with 1350. So 1350 Edgemont Avenue is the current building right now where the administrative office is being held for some of us who are there. But right now, the building, there's construction taking place within that building that most likely will be completed by September. The goal for that building is to provide an additional middle school. Students in grades 6, 7, and 8 will be housed in that building once it's completed. And the magic question at times, why a middle school? Why not a K Center? Why not an early center? So one of the things that we did is we researched, and what we found was that for whatever reason, the 6th grade year is where the void is in our district. Currently, we are operating, I believe it's 3 6th grade classes throughout the entire district. One of the things, so if a student leaves in 6th grade, if they're moving out of the state, they're moving to another district, they're going to another school. If they're not here in 6th grade, the chances of them coming back in the 7th grade or the 8th grade are slim to none. So what we wanted to do was create an environment, another opportunity, increase our middle school so we can increase the space to where we can offer students to come into that building. A nice new shiny building that's going to have all the latest technology for our students as we look to bring that in all of our other buildings. As we're updating our buildings, as you'll hear with our capital improvement projects, we're looking to bring all that great technology in all of our buildings. But this building will be used to house 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. The timeline for that, again, as enrollment increases, and I'm being optimistic, my hope and my prayer is during the 23-24 school year, we're going to just get hit with an influx of enrollment, with people coming in saying, I want to bring my child to the Chester Upland School District. We will definitely have that space in Chester, in 1350 to be able to house those students. So 1350 Edgemont, that will be a new middle school. So for Coosa, some of the projects, I'll start with that. Coosa Elementary, let me my glasses here. All right, so we're doing HVAC, the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system at Coosa. We're also putting in new windows at Coosa Elementary, and that's actually being done through our ESSER dollars. So I will delineate or I'll specify there's a project that's going on. If it's an ESSER capital project, I'll make you aware of that. So the windows and HVAC system for Coosa Elementary will be done through our ESSER dollars. Toby Farms capital improvements, excuse me. They are also receiving a new heating, ventilation, air conditioning system and new windows. That project is also being done through our ESSER dollars. Main Street capital improvement projects. Main Street will be getting air conditioning, new windows. That again is ESSER dollars. District-wide, what we're doing is we're providing window treatments for all of our windows, blinds, curtains, upgrading that. We're putting in new furniture. These are all ESSER dollars that we're utilizing to do that. We are actually doing a district-wide mass cleaning for all of our buildings. One of the things that we've been struggling with is attracting custodians, and we definitely have been trying. But one of the things that we notice, and we all know, is that we need to make sure our buildings are clean for our students, our staff upon arrival. So through ESSER dollars, we'll also be doing a large cleaning project. Some of the learning losses that we're using through our ESSER dollars is we're actually investing in additional curriculum. The music initiative, I don't know, several hundreds, and maybe thousands, new instruments were provided to our students in the Chester Upland School District through ESSER dollars. We have sensory rooms that we've implemented in many of our schools for our students who are autistic. We've created some sensory rooms for our students, which is an amazing, amazing addition for our children. This summer, we are running an Adventures Academy, our extended school year program. That too is through the ESSER dollars. We have a summer truancy initiative that's through our ESSER dollars. All of this is ESSER related, so let me just say that off the bat. This list that I'm going through is where we're utilizing our ESSER dollars. We are using ESSER dollars for a district-wide reading specialist that's needed. Every school, every building throughout the Chester Upland School District should have a reading specialist. They should have a mathematics specialist. We've had to, over years, share 1 or 2 reading specialists to take care of all of our students throughout the district. What we need to do to make sure that our children, as I talk about often, has everything that every child throughout the Commonwealth has. We need to make sure that we have the resources to do that. So what we are doing is making sure through our ESSER dollars is making sure that we have reading specialists to support our students. And again, technology, our wireless ports, our supplies, technological supplies, laptops, making sure we provide those to all of our staff and students. We've been able to maintain that one-to-one laptop initiative that we actually created during COVID. We've been able to maintain that for our students. And many of you will be extremely happy to hear this. For the past couple years, I think it's been more than a couple years, the intercom system in the Chester High School has been out. This past year, we were able to rectify that and at least have it operate throughout the halls, but it was not operating in the classroom. So I'm proud to share with you this evening that the company is here this week repairing the intercom system, which is extremely important to any school building to be able to make announcements. Trying to operate a school without a PA system is an extreme challenge. So before the start of the school year, that system will be up and running and operating. So very happy about that happening as well. So one of the things that we're also doing as far as capital projects is we are renovating all the bathrooms throughout the school district. So when the students return to the school, many of these bathrooms will be ready to go. This is a project that's going to take place over the next year. But that's not an ESSER project. That's actually coming out of capital dollars through the district. So that is not a ESSER project. But as many of you have gone into our restrooms, we definitely understand that they are in need of renovation. And as Receiver Nichols has just shared with me, that will also include the locker rooms. When we have visiting teams come to participate in various sports, obviously our locker rooms are less than desirable to have company in. It's like your house. When you have company coming over, you want a clean house. We want to make sure our house is clean and in good order. And we're going to make that happen with many of these renovations. All right. So those are things that are coming up for the 23-24 school year. Some of the changes. And let me just reiterate that you as a community, as our stakeholders, will be a part of addressing these changes. Again, through the research, through the organizations who are going to be supporting us, we'll provide a recommendation to me, to Receiver Nichols, and again, we will make a decision on what needs to happen at that point. All right? And I just wanted to share briefly with you, this is a part of our aggressive marketing campaign. What we're doing is, you'll see throughout the buildings plastered, advertisements for our school districts. Dr. Mumin's team has already sent out several hundred, thousand, we have about 1,000 postcards for our digital academy. It's thousands of postcards for our digital academy. One of the things I want to share that has been amazing about, Dr. Mumin's team and everyone working together, when we sent out the initial postcards, what happened was there were a number of postcards that came back because they were not good addresses for many of the students who were in districts. And what this actually helped us to do, it helped us to cut costs or to find a savings, because some of these students were in charter schools or private schools, or they were in other areas, but the addresses of the postcards did not match up. So we are able to track and identify who are the students in Chester Upland School District who we need to support and serve. We'll continue to send out postcards. We'll continue to advertise what's happening in the school district. And, I feel that the school district is definitely on a better trajectory. We're moving the needle. And again, I'm extremely proud of the team and this group here. So the goal was to share this information in about 30 to 45 minutes, which I think I don't know if I accomplished that or not. But what I want to do is, again, say thank you for coming out this evening. If you have any questions, if there's anything that you want to continue to expand upon, there is a website or an email address that's which is written up here, ask the superintendent at chesteruplandschooldistrict.com. .org, and we'll address all questions. So again, I want to say thank you for coming out tonight, supporting the Chester Upland School District, and more to come. Thank you.